When Kavita's cousin offered to bring her to Mumbai from Kolhapur so that she could pursue her studies, her family readily agreed. Little did they know what was in store for her. A year later, 13-year-old Kavita Patil lies battered in GT hospital after surviving a close brush with death. On July 15th, her cousin Mrinmayi Salvekar and her husband Praveen Salvekar allegedly tried to strangle her. She was saved by the timely intervention of neighbors who called up Childline, a child crisis helpline. Already frail and malnourished, Kavita was punched in the eye, beaten with an iron rod and strangled with a rope. She lies in the hospital with a swollen and bleeding eye. Her body is scarred with cuts and welts, which are testimony to the year of torture that she has suffered.
Jimmy, a migrant from North. Jimmy can't move his hands and feet as we can move. He can't talk as we can talk. He is a spastic. That is, his muscles don't work with his brains. Jimmy's way of the cross is like Jesus' way of the cross. He carries his cross courageously.
Parish Desai, aged 26, from Bihar, was a car seat maker living in a slum at Sahar. He had saved up all his money to buy a shed. On September 16, 1985, the municipality bulldozer came and smashed all the huts and sheds. That was too much for Harish to bear. He said to his friend that afternoon, "I am tired of running round and round. I am fed up with life. I haven't the strength to run anymore, my friend." That night, Harish went to the Andheri railway line and laid his head on the rail. Like a cross made up of two parts, his body was cut into two. Anjana Rajagopal's first child happened by chance. While walking to her office from the bus stop one morning, Anjana saw a boy who came to the city from Orissa being thrashed by a fruit vendor. The vendor said the boy was an orphan and always pestered him for food. Says Anjana, "I went back again in the evening. The child was crying helplessly. I decided to take him home." Anjana and a few like-minded friends decided to register a society, Sai Kripa, to look after migrant children. For years, T. Raja, migrant from Chennai, was just an ordinary auto rickshaw driver in Bangalore. As he ferried passengers across the city roads, Raja would see destitutes on the streets. Unlike most people, he did not turn his face away. Nor was he put off by their scraggy hair full of lice, their unwashed clothes, or their sores. In fact, their miserable state moved him. Why should they live such a life? Can I do anything to help them even in a small way? He wondered. So one day, he took home a sickly old woman, gave her a bath, clean clothes, and some food. What's more, he gave her refuge in his own home. Since then, there has been no looking back. Raja's home is shared by many destitutes he has picked up from the streets of Bangalore. Shehnaz Sheikh's family migrated to Mumbai when she was 23. She challenged the Muslim personal law in the Supreme Court as being against the constitution on grounds of being discriminatory to women. She had just been divorced through the triple talaq method. Her petition provoked harsh criticism. 10 years later, Shehnaz has educated herself in law and Islam. She has formed an organization of poor migrant Muslim women in Nagpada. Awaz-e-Niswar, or Voice of Women, is known throughout India for taking up atrocities on Muslim women as a militant feminist organization. Shehnaz was given the Neerja Bhanat Pan Am Trust Award. Nirmala, aged 7 years, collapsed in the classroom of a village suburban school in Uttar Pradesh. In a weak and timid voice, Shanti, her sister, spoke, "Today was not Nirmala's turn to have breakfast." Nirmala and Shanti belonged to a family of 7 children. Their father, a migrant farmer, could not afford to feed his children. So they took turns. Some ate while others starved. Tears stream down her cheeks as she narrates her tragic story. 4 months that, Gangabai was a happy woman, living in a hut in the heart of the city with her husband and her year-old child. Her husband worked as a dishwasher in a nearby hotel, while Gangabai supplemented the family income by working as a domestic aide in one of the middle-class families. Then one day, before the outbreak of the rains, their hut along with others were demolished and they were heartlessly left on a marshy patch outside the city. This is where she is now. In the meantime, her husband lost his job. Then came the monsoon, and with it, mosquitoes and disease. Her child fell sick and died within a week. Gangabai's husband is now severely stricken with malaria. The family has no money for food and for medicines. So many of our people struggle like Jesus just to survive. He struggles in them. He struggles in Sushila Javlekar, a widow living with her child in the hills of Ghatkopar. Sushila's husband died in 1982. While he was working, a bottle of acid fell on him and he was killed. Ever since then, Sushila has been wandering with her son, looking for a job and a shelter. She worked hard, carrying mud and stones for 15 rupees a day. She built a small hut at Parkside. The BMC came and demolished it on the 15th of November. She and her son spent 15 days out in the open. But she carries on with the mud work. She will rise again and build another hut on another hill. Must live for my son, she says. On April 4, 1984, Maria Santana, aged 13, a houseworker, was murdered by her mistress, a Catholic lady, staying at Antop Hill. She tied up Maria with a rope, beat her up with an iron rod, and then tortured her to death with a burning candle. On November 1990, sisters Priya and Sylvia were murdered. Sisters Priya and Sylvia took care of street children at Sneha Sadan, Jogeshwari. On the night of September 28, 1991, Shankar Guha Niyogi, trade unionist and a social reformer, was murdered by big businessmen's mafia who had the politicians and the police in their pockets. Her name was Angela, migrated to city, attracted by the city dreams. She had looks, charm, intelligence, ability, a good job with a no-mean salary, which brought her social status and access to the good life. And this is what she actively sought and relished with all her heart: high living, the comforts of a well-furnished flat, good food, good clothes, entertainment, parties, pleasure trips, and more pleasure. Yet for all the fun and excitement she exacted out of life, she wasn't happy. Deep, deep down within her, she experienced a lonely void. In her loneliness, she consumed an overdose of sleeping pills. Angela died as she had lived. Listen to the story of Iqbal Masih, a 12-year-old Christian boy from Lahore who was shot dead because he spoke strongly on behalf of child workers. At the age of 4, Iqbal was sold by his parents to be a slave, a carpet weaver. For nearly 6 years, he was chained to the carpet weaving loom. Iqbal Masih worked as a carpet weaver from the age of 4 to 10. When he was set free from bonded labor, he traveled to Europe and spoke at an international labor conference in Sweden. He traveled to America and spoke in Boston. The whole world was shocked. Because of Iqbal's awareness campaigns, many carpet weaving factories were closed down and thousands of bonded child laborers were set free.
Listen to the story of the three sisters of Kanpur, Alka, Mamta and Poonam, who had received college education. But their parents had not enough dowry, money to get them married. Every day men came and had a look at them. Like in a bazaar, the three sisters were shown and then rejected. One day, when the parents had gone out somewhere, the three sisters decided to end their lives. They took their mother's saris. They left a suicide note for their parents. "Dear Daddy and Mummy, we can't bear this suffering anymore. We are doing what we are doing out of our own free will. Please forgive us." Listen to the story of Eliezer Rose. He was born in Andhra Pradesh. Both his parents had leprosy, so they were forced to stay outside the village in a leprosy colony. They could not mix and mingle with other people. They were not welcome. Eliezer had to leave his home and stay in an orphanage. His mother used to beg and send him money for schooling. Later on, when he grew up, he worked with the missionaries and cared for leprosy patients. He got married to Ruth, whose parents were also leprosy patients. Today, Eliezer Rose lives at Maniguda in Orissa. He has started a center called New Hope for work among leprosy patients. There is a hospital for surgery on the 35-acre land. Village girls go on bikes to various villages to help the villagers to eradicate the disease. In 10 years, 3,000 villagers are completely cured of leprosy.